Hanson to 83848 to give today. That's joinadf.com/Hanson or text Hanson to 83848.
Hello, this is Victor Davis Hanson for the Daily Signal. I don't watch much Women's Basketball Association games. Apparently most Americans have not in the past. But there was an incident the other day between two teams, the Phoenix Mercury and the Indiana.
Women's professional basketball has not drawn wide national attention for most of its history. That changed after a recent clash between the Phoenix Mercury and the Indiana Fever brought the league into the spotlight for reasons beyond the game itself. Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark, the 6-foot-tall former Iowa standout who became the face of the sport, was at the center of the incident. During play, she was pushed to the floor and surrounded by several Mercury defenders, narrowly avoiding a knee to the head.
And Fever. And the sensation of women's basketball is 6-foot-tall former Iowa College basketball sensation Caitlin Clark. And here's the rub. She was playing this game and she was knocked down. 2 or 3 of the Phoenix Mercury team members kind of swarmed her. She almost got a knee in the head, and one
player, Alyssa Thomas, leaned her weight onto Clark and pressed a fist against her throat and neck area. Had this happened outside of an athletic contest, in an ordinary public setting, such contact could reasonably be treated as a serious assault. Because it occurred during a sanctioned game, however, the officiating crew standing nearby did not immediately flag it as a flagrant foul, nor did they respond in the moment. Only after public backlash grew loud enough did the league step in, overturning the official's initial call and issuing Thomas a 1-game suspension.
And one player, Alicia Thomas, was sort of resting on her and then took her fist and pressed right onto her jugular vein or throat and her neck. If that had happened just out in public sphere, if you saw somebody knock somebody down and then sort of rest on top of them and put that on their neck, it would be a felony assault. But this was in a basketball game. And what made
this sequence of events has raised questions about what is driving the treatment Clark continues to receive on the court. Observers note that the league's player base is estimated at roughly 2/3 black, and that it includes a notably higher share of openly gay athletes than the general population, mirroring some broader patterns seen in men's professional basketball. Within this landscape, Clark, a white athlete from Iowa, has stood out. Many expected a player of her height to operate mostly near the basket, but instead, she developed into one of the most accomplished long-range shooters the women's game has seen.
Assault. But this was in a basketball game. And what made it worse was the referees were right there. They not only did not call a flagrant foul, they didn't react to it. It was only when the people who were watching the game got so angry in public opinion that the league then, I guess, forced the referees to rescind, and they assessed Thomas a foul, but it was only 1-day suspension. So what is going on? Well, what's going on, according to the popular press, I'm not sure.
Her first 2 seasons involved plenty of physical treatment. Yet she pushed through and turned that resilience into the kind of standout play that had already propelled her college team to national prominence, and now was doing the same for her professional franchise. The complication is that Clark's presence has been credited with driving a revenue increase estimated near 25% for the league, along with a surge of new viewers tuning in largely because of her distinctive style of play. Analysts are careful to note this surge has little to do with her being straight or white, and everything to do with her court vision, passing ability, and outside shooting touch. One might expect a league experiencing this kind of growth to embrace and promote the player responsible for it.
According to the popular press, I'm not sure I'm qualified to adjudicate that, is that the league is mostly 65 to 70% black. It kind of mirror images. It's a completely meritocratic league. It mirror images the NBA, and many of the black players, as true of women's sports, has a higher percentage of lesbians than the normal population. And all of a sudden, this white girl from Iowa 6 feet tall, who you might think would be.
Instead, tension has built around the shift from a previously low-profile, modestly attended league to one now drawing record crowds and revenue, largely on the strength of one player's popularity. Some of this friction may stem from resentment or competitiveness among peers. Some may be tied to race or sexual orientation, though the exact cause remains debated. Whatever the source, critics argue that opposing players are undermining their own financial interests by targeting her physically. A widely circulated list, compiled by a major news outlet, documented more than 10 separate incidents involving Clark, including a ruptured eardrum and multiple hard falls, one of which involved another flagrant foul.
Girl from Iowa, 6 feet tall, who you might think would be under the basket rebounding in women's basketball. She's kind of lanky, but she turns out to be one of the best outside shooters in the history of women's basketball. So for her first 2 seasons, she was roughed up a bit, but she took the league by storm, and she continued her historic excellence that came out of college basketball with the University of Iowa team. And when
the pattern has puzzled many fans. Why would players seemingly work against the very success that benefits the entire league financially? One theory holds that rough treatment is simply strategic, intended to unsettle Clark mentally, so that her shooting and passing suffer under sustained physical pressure and looming injury risk. Her third professional season has statistically fallen short of her first 2, and she has accumulated a series of knee and back injuries along the way, lending some support to this idea.
And she parlayed that into excellent play and kind of skyrocketed the Indiana professional team. But here's the problem. She's for good or evil or happy or sad, she's responsible for many estimates of a 25% increase in revenue, not to mention millions of people are watching women's basketball because she is such a different type of player, not because of her sexual orientation.
Still, a large portion of the public sees something more troubling, a sense that some players resent the outsized attention and financial windfall Clark has brought to a league they also benefit from, and that this resentment manifests as harder, more punishing physical play aimed at wearing her down, whether through injury or through psychological pressure that saps her confidence and performance. Looking ahead, 3 broad outcomes are commonly discussed among sports commentators, who themselves remain divided along ideological lines, with many prominent sports writers leaning further left than in years past. Some of these commentators place blame on Clark herself, describing her as overly sensitive or prone to complaining about physical play that comes with high-level competition.
Not because of her sexual orientation, that is heterosexual, her race, which is white, but because she has a finesse. She's a great passer, and she can shoot from the outside. Now, you would think the league would welcome that and highlight it. But what's happened is attention has turned to the low attendance prior league to the high attendance, high revenue new league because of Caitlin Clark. Part of it is jealousy, part of
others, including much of the general public and reportedly a number of players, see a clearer pattern at work. The first possible outcome is that if league officials, referees, coaches, and players allow the current pattern to continue unchecked, Clark could suffer a career-ending or long-term injury within a year or 2. Alternatively, she may become so wary of the physical toll that she effectively plays a more cautious, defensive style, aware that referees may hesitate to intervene, whether from fear of upsetting teams and management, sympathy toward the players involved, or simple reluctance to get involved.
Speak on topics that has nothing to do with the game of basketball. That's probably why they sent her ass clean out of New York. She had to go. She talked too much. That is Natasha Cloud, man. Natasha Cloud is making waves online today. And I'm telling you right now, we need to blow this up. This has to get blown up because Caitlin Clark was on the bench. She was on the bench. Now, this young lady right here had an epic crash out. Epic crash out, bro.
Under this scenario, an eventual serious injury could push her out of the league entirely, at which point the sport risks losing not only the new audience it has gained, but its established fan base as well. potentially sending the league back into financial decline. The second scenario involves Clark choosing to walk away on her own terms, reasoning that the pattern of treatment reflects racial bias more than ordinary competitive rivalry. Under this view, if she were a black player, and possibly gay, the same level of physical targeting would likely not occur. Some competitive jealousy would still exist naturally, but not at this intensity.
And it's just beyond me how Caitlin Clark conducts herself like a professional. And she got a damn technical for clapping. The catch in the post. Natasha Cloud out here crashing out and clapping in front of the officials, but she didn't get a tech. Even the announcer was shocked. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Let's watch this.
Frustrated on that one. She's got to be careful clapping. Yes.
In this outcome, she would depart for a European league, where such dynamics are seen as less pronounced, and continue a successful career there, while the domestic league loses its biggest draw. The third and more optimistic scenario involves league stakeholders, including referees, management, coaches, and players, acknowledging the problem privately and collectively agreeing to address it, recognizing that continuing to target one player threatens the financial future the entire league is now poised to enjoy. Under this outcome, the league would explicitly commit to ending any pattern of racially or otherwise motivated targeting of individual players.
And officials, I mean, I have seen technicals be assessed for that action. Yes. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not.
I think her teammates helped her off the court quickly enough to where just in the nick of time.
Now, Caitlin Clark wasn't even on the court when she got hurt.
Be careful clapping.
Now, when Caitlin Clark got her technical foul, she wasn't even on the court.
Of the three possibilities, the first is viewed as the most likely outcome by this commentator. Continued inaction leading to a severe injury, whether from a blow to the neck, back, or a hard fall, that leaves Clark either physically unable to continue or psychologically unable to perform at the level she once did, ultimately forcing her retirement. The suggestion is that some players may be pursuing exactly this result, even though open discussion of the underlying racial dynamics remains difficult in the current climate. Fresh controversy continues to unfold across the WNBA.
Now, when Caitlin Clark got her technical foul, she wasn't even on the court. She wasn't even on the court. Mind you, she was on the bench. Let's read this. The referees have been instructed to turn down Caitlin Clark. All other get a pass. The only player in history, other W, to get a technical foul for clapping. Caitlin, 30 years into the league existence, that the W version of Shanae's sisterhood. Yeah, it definitely is. Is it the same referee refs the tech Caitlin Clark received for?
As previously noted, Caitlin Clark held an extended media session recently, and many felt her comments were misrepresented afterward. That discussion will be addressed further below, but attention first turns to the league's officiating crew, which has remained a hot topic for roughly 2.5 years, due to how referees appear to influence the outcome of matchups. Recall that not long ago, Caitlin Clark was hit with a technical foul simply for applauding.
Is it the same referee refs the tech Caitlin Clark received for clapping needs to be outed? I mean, refs the technical need to be overturned, and this video cloud is clapping, and refs did nothing. Be consistent. Facts. Somebody else said had a very similar one versus Liberty a few weeks ago. They didn't call that either. Selective enforcement it's the law of the land, just like slapping stations. Yes, for CC. Yeah, bro.
Around that same period, another player, Aaliyah Edwards, was seen kicking the broadcast table and engaging in similarly aggressive behavior without facing ejection or any punishment whatsoever. Officials allowed it to slide. Now another chapter has emerged in this ongoing league drama. A different player was caught clapping directly in an official's face and walked away without a technical foul or any consequence.
I don't know. When it comes to Natasha Cloud, somebody said the game can do what she want. Laughing off. She looked crazy. Valid crash out. She stole the ball, and the refs gave Aces a timeout. Hater. It don't matter. at all. Excuse me. Caitlin got a technical foul for clapping. So I don't care what nobody say. Now, moving on to the department of Caitlin Clark,
The player involved is someone who draws a lot of strong opinions from fans, someone known for speaking on issues well outside the scope of basketball itself. That reputation may be part of why she was eventually moved out of New York's roster. She spoke her mind too freely, and it cost her a spot. That player is Natasha Cloud, and she is currently trending across social platforms.
Caitlin Clark, we have to talk about what she said yesterday. Now, I have not seen the clip in its entirety because, damn me, it's like, I don't know, over 10 minutes long. Let's watch some of it. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm going to give you guys my reaction to it because we have to cover it. I didn't cover it yesterday. Let's see here. Here we go. 5 minutes.
But obviously I haven't been available for like a
This story needs wider attention, because Clark's technical came while she was sitting on the bench, not even on the floor. Meanwhile, Cloud had a full-blown meltdown moment, completely over the top, and it remains baffling how, in contrast, Clark carries herself with composure and still drew a technical for something as minor as clapping. Cloud was caught mid-outburst, clapping right in front of the officiating crew, yet no technical was issued.
and obviously I haven't been available for like a week or so. So first of all, I know what you guys are going to ask, and I did think it was a flagrant foul. And our reffing just needs to be better. And, you know, it's tough. Obviously, the refs are in a really difficult spot. You know, it's one of the hardest jobs in the world, in my opinion, is to make calls. All you do is get yelled at the whole time by everybody. You're never winning. So I think for us, like, as the league's just got to do better protecting our players in that regard. I don't really think that it was up for debate. Obviously, it wasn't called in real time. You go back and watch.
Broadcasters covering the game even sounded surprised by the inconsistency. Sometimes that kind of behavior draws a whistle, and sometimes it doesn't. Footage of the exchange showed commentary noting visible frustration on the court, along with a caution about players needing to watch how they express themselves physically near officials.